And the sooner you learn how to make great videos that people actually want to watch, the sooner you'll get views. I think is the biggest takeaway, because like when I was 14, I thought my videos were the best in the world. They weren't. They're terrible. Many people are making way better videos than me, but I didn't think that. And I think, you know, to be successful, you kind of have to have a little bit of that ego where you're like, you know, my content's great and you got to believe in it. But also, like, if you have sub 1,000 subscribers, like, there's a good probability your videos just suck. They just do. And you need to make hundreds of videos. So like, I took a light pole and I saw how many dollar bills I could stack on top, and they would just go ... because it's too long and it can't finish it. And that's the worst thing, because then people don't even know what they're clicking on. And so it's going to do even worse. Short, simple, ideally, and just so freaking interesting they have to click. And it is a good segue into the content, and it represents the length of the content. The more extreme the opinion, typically the higher the click-through rate. If you can like pay it off in the content, then it just supercharges it. Yeah, I mean, it's about as slow as it gets. I mean, so like, when I was a young teenager, I was getting no views, had no money, had no equipment. And so for the most part, it was just like, I was just trying to scrounge money so I could buy equipment, because I was using my brother's old laptop. And so like my first couple hundred videos, I didn't have a microphone. Like, imagine just like crackly, terrible voice. And so once I got monetized, I saved up for a few months. Like I told you, I bought a microphone. I can just give you a mile high history. And I saved up for like 6 months. I mean, I was just doing video game videos, and they were terrible. Now, I think living your life chasing like a nicer car and a bigger and bigger box to live in is kind of like a dumb way to go about life.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I actually, funny enough, I lived in like a super below average home, and I kind of learned why famous people don't live in below average homes, because someone broke in, stole everything I owned. So I had to get a little nicer house for security reasons. But before I was robbed, I mean, like my place was like a little duplex, $700 a month. You get a roommate's $360 split.
Right.
Yeah, and just drive a normal car. Well, now I drive a Tesla just because of the, you know, getting off of gas and stuff like that. Yeah, it's a really small game, but I uploaded that and I got 20,000 views. And that was probably the best thing that could have ever happened to me, because then I was hooked from day one. Literally, like most people, it takes hundreds of videos before you get like one view. And somehow the very first video I uploaded at 11 got like 20,000 views. And then I was just like, oh, I fell in love, and I've been hooked ever since. Most of my growth came actually after I graduated high school. Basically what I did was somehow found these other like 4 lunatics. 3 of us were college dropouts. One was a high school dropout. And one, I don't know, he just like quit his job. We were all super small YouTubers. And we basically talked every day for 1,000 days in a row and did nothing but just like hyper study, like what makes a good video, what makes a good thumbnail, what's good pacing, like how to go viral. And we just call it like daily masterminds. We would just get on Skype every morning, and like some days, like I'd get on Skype at 7 a.m. and I'd be in the call until like 10 p.m. and then I'd go to bed, I'd wake up and I'd do it again. And you know, we'd do things like just take 1,000 thumbnails and see if like there's a correlation to the brightness of the thumbnail to how many views it got, or like, you know, like videos that get over 10 million views is like how often do they cut the camera angles, or like things like that.
Really?
Like 2006 or whatever.
Yeah,
YouTube was a
7.
thing, but like the partner program wasn't really a thing. No one was making money.
Right.
And it was definitely back before it was cool. Like when I was doing YouTube when I was 14 and 15, like it now, you know, it's cool if you want to be a YouTuber in high school or middle school. Back then, like no one gave a fuck. You know what I mean? It was like you're just worried they would try to play your videos in class or make fun of you or stuff like that for it. Nope. I really try not to. I think that's like just a bad way to go about life. Also, it is a little hypocritical because I run a nonprofit, and you know we. Have you seen our Beast Philanthropy channel?
No.
Can you pull that up as well? We do a lot of stuff for helping people. And so also if I lived in a $10 million mansion while I'm feeding people and trying to help people, also, in my eyes, it's also a little hypocritical as well. So in every area, I feel like it's just better if I just live below my means. Especially me in like the middle of North Carolina in a small town. I have like horrible acne. I'm you know, especially back then, really awkward. It's like no one, like people would have bet $1 million that I wouldn't be a YouTuber. You know, it makes no sense. But I just like, I have, you know, hyper obsession and I love this. And, you know, you give it enough time, anyone can solve it. Well, and you take it a step further, because I thought, especially if you're like extremely passionate about something at a young age, where most kids aren't, then it's more exacerbated that it's like, you know, I didn't talk to anyone. I hardly had any friends because I was so obsessed with YouTube. As back then, just no one cared. So it's like I thought I was just like just didn't even know how to speak. Like literally, I just couldn't hold a conversation with a single person because people would just tell me all you talk about is YouTube, and I would try to talk about something else. But back then I was so hyper obsessed, and I literally just didn't know how to. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so I would act like I was going to college that whole time, but I wasn't, and I didn't have enough money to move out. And that was kind of when I was just like 15 hours a day, all in. I was like, I'm fucked if this doesn't work. And I had some videos pop off. I couldn't tell you which ones, but I had a month where I made 20 grand because I just had some videos just do really, really well. And then I came home and I was like, yeah, I haven't been going to college, and I moved out the next day. My mom almost had a heart attack because she didn't understand YouTube or anything back then, and she was like, man, this guy's gonna work at McDonald's. I wasted all this time. Like I invested 18 years and this is what I get. No, she doesn't try to hide it. We would fight all the time, even in high school. Like I never once studied. I literally wouldn't even take my books home. Like I legit don't think I studied once all of high school at my house. And so we would fight a lot. I didn't have the best grades. And so I would just make videos, and she didn't understand it, especially because back then it was just a whole different world. Like, there wasn't really a thing as a full-time YouTuber and stuff. And so it was a lot of arguments, a lot of drama, but it ended up working out. She's happy. Yeah, exactly. So we all had like 10, 20,000 subscribers when we met. And by the time we stopped talking, we all had millions of subscribers. And we all hit 1 million subscribers like within a month. It's crazy because it's like if you envision a world where you're trying to be great at something and it's just like you learning and fucking up and then learning from your mistakes. Also, my mom told me not to curse. Sorry, Mom. If someone could just like edit out the swear words and give it to me.
Sorry, Mom.
Yeah, so I could give it to my mom to listen to. That would be great. But like, you mess up, you learn from your mistake, you mess up, you learn from your mistake. You in 2 years, might have learned from 20 mistakes. Or if you have like 4 other people who are also messing up, and when they learn from the mistake, they teach you what they learn, stuff like that. Hypothetically, you 2 years down the road have learned like 5 times more of the amount of stuff. So it just like helps you grow exponentially way quicker, if that makes any sense. So his name's Darren, which also shout out to Darren. He's literally the greatest thing that's ever happened to me. This guy's a lunatic. He won't let me pay him for working on the charity. He's like that in love with helping people. Yeah, and he puts in like 10 hours a day every day. He's a machine. You couldn't stop him if you wanted to. He loves helping people. But
that's so cool.
So he built it out. So I met him. I kind of stole him from a different nonprofit because I met him and I loved him. I was like, fuck yeah, there's not another person in the world I'd rather have run Beast Philanthropy. And so now, it's its own thing. We have people that work in the pantry, logistics people, and stuff like that. The key thing isn't. That was a Thanksgiving special. But normally, yeah, exactly. And the more you do it, the more people come. And then we just guesstimate the numbers and average it out and usually bring a little extra just in case more people come this week than others. And he just does that routinely. And right now we're doing that for like 13 communities. And then we're going to build another food pantry and, scale that up and just keep scaling up. Also, I don't want to just do North Carolina. Our next food pantry is going to be in Atlanta and then hopefully get out of America and just keep scaling them up. The key thing isn't. That was a Thanksgiving special. But normally, yeah, exactly. And the more you do it, the more people come. And then we just guesstimate the numbers and average it out and usually bring a little extra just in case more people come this week than others. And he just does that routinely. And right now we're doing that for like 13 communities. And then we're going to build another food pantry and, scale that up and just keep scaling up. Also, I don't want to just do North Carolina. Our next food pantry is going to be in Atlanta and then hopefully get out of America and just keep scaling them up.